Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, and we are back for a review for Adults Adopting Adults Season 1, Episode 3. So, we opened up the episode where the last one left off. Val is upstairs crying, and comes up there to try to have a conversation with her mother. And Val feels like this whole thing was an ambush, and that Kim only flew her out there to rub in her face that Vicky and Joe were going to be adopting her. And the mother is hurt. And this situation, I feel like they both are wrong, because they end up talking all of this out, and the reason why they fell out to begin with and didn't talk for 8 years was because Kim was trying to tell Valerie how she felt about her upbringing, and Kim also said that she don't like that Val took credit for how Kim turned out, or never took credit. I really didn't understand what she was really trying to say. And she said that after she told her that, Valerie said that she wishes her father was here to see how selfish and ungrateful she's being, complaining about her childhood. So, Kim says, throughout these 8 years, you never called me, you never tried to reach back out. And Val says, well, I was trying to give you your space. And I'm like, that's bullshit. And Val, you bogus if Kim was trying to reach out to you within those 8 years and you just weren't responding, or you hadn't reached out at all in 8 years. A daughter that you said you love, you haven't reached out to her in 8 years. So I understand why Kim is feeling some type of way. However, the way you went about it was bogus, because if you flew this lady out, if you flew Val out under false pretenses, saying that, oh, we just about to, come have family time, and you're going to meet the people that have been in my life since you've been absent, and get to know each other, like, it should have just been that. And if you was going to go through with the adoption, you should have told her that over the phone before you flew her out there and then dropped a bomb on her after she was thinking that everything was cool. And then, furthermore, you guys ain't even have a conversation. Y'all clearly hadn't already hashed this out like y'all doing right now, because if you had, you probably wouldn't even got this far as to looking for somebody to adopt your kids. But Val ended up apologizing and taking accountability for hurting Kim. And she wants Kim to know that this situation really hurt her, though. And now Kim is starting to reconsider if she's going to go through with the adoption or not. So they hug it out. And in their next scene is the next day. And Kim has just finished working out. She still has anxiety from the previous day because her mother was very upset, and she had never seen her mother, that upset with her, and she wanted to avoid her mama that day. So, Kim comes downstairs, and she tried to use the kids as bait to take Valerie's temperature, because she started talking to the kids like, oh, don't you want to hug grandma and give her a kiss? She's about to leave. Aren't you going to miss her? And the little boy is like, no. And I know that stung for Valerie too, because it's like, them kids probably don't even know that lady. Like, them babies don't look like they 8 years old. So if you ain't talked to this lady in 8 years, they don't even really have a concept of who this lady even is. Like, they call Vicky grandma. That's who they know as grandma. That's who they've been growing up with for these past 8 years. So Val is damn near like, this is both of y'all fault, I feel like. Um, so they started having a conversation about the situation again, and Valerie tells Kim that she ain't never been this hurt before, and she like, I felt like I was getting my daughter back, and then you dropped a bomb on me about this adoption. Like, I don't understand why you even have to go through the adoption. And they cut to Kim's husband Joe, and he's starting to feel some kind of way because he says that Kim is like has a defensive posture on, and he wants to come to her defense. He feels like he should jump in, and he says that, oh well, she's been dreading telling you this whole time. And I was just like, Joe, stay in the corner where you been, because don't try to make excuses for her now. You weren't even on board with this to begin with. Your sentiments are the same as her mother's, that this is bullshit. If you already have a relationship with Vicky and Joe, why do you have to make legalities about it? Like, you doing too much. So let them hash this out like you let them hash out every other awkward situation that they have. So Valerie in return says that Kim has had a lot of stuff that she didn't want to tell me, and I end up finding out. But this, she knew this would hurt me, and she did it anyway. And I'm hurt. Period. So Joe really couldn't say nothing after that because it's bogus. Like, you ain't have to do it in this way. And especially if you and her ain't had a conversation and hashed it out. Like, I could see if y'all had tried to hash it out over these 8 years and y'all just can't come to no resolve, and then you feel like you gotta have somebody else adopt you. But even still, I just feel like you grown. Like, is it that deep? You need that more emotion. Like, you need that emotionally more than you need to go to therapy, because that's what you really need. To go to therapy and to talk to somebody about what you're feeling and about your childhood trauma, because this ain't the way to go. So Val said, I'm willing to share the kids. Like, they could be grandparents to the child, like to the kids, but I don't want them to adopt you. Like, I feel like they stealing you away from me. And Kim says, well, why do you have to have me? And Valerie says, because I chose you. I chose you to be my daughter. And Kim says, well, I'm sick of hearing that, because you guys didn't treat me like you chose me and that you wanted me, because you guys used to scream and yell at me. And I'm like, that's it? They just screamed and yelled at you? They didn't beat you? They didn't abuse you? Like, is there something else? Because I'm lost. So then Kim says that Valerie actually said out of her mouth, you should be grateful and you should be glad that somebody that I adopted you, because nobody else would have wanted you. And Val was like, I don't remember saying that. All these things that you saying that I said, I don't remember saying. So then Val said, you know your dynamic, and I know, you know what you did, and I know what you did, and how I reacted is water under the bridge now. And I'm like, what do that mean? What did you do? Like, something is being unsaid. There's something that they're not telling us that's a missing piece to this puzzle, because this don't make sense. Something is missing. And y'all need to tell us what's missing. Otherwise, this is stupid. Anyway. So, it ended up getting heated again. And Joe hops in the conversation once again and said, well, is it water under the bridge? Because I don't think Kim is okay. And he was like, you know what? I think you guys have went as far as you can with this conversation, and I think we should just table it for now. And actually, your flight is coming, so you should probably get going. I'm like, oh, not you should get going. You just tell this lady to get out your house. because she made your wife uncomfortable. Boy. Anyway, so Kim says in her confessional that she thinks that this is going to cause her and her mother not to talk again. So then, I believe it was later on that day, Vicky comes over. And as she comes to the door, Kim is like, oh yeah, Grandma Vicky is here. And she said Grandma Vicky like 3 times. And I'm like, that is really irritating. Like, you are really overcompensating for a situation that could have been resolved between you and your mother, but whatever. So Kim tells Vicky what ended up happening with the mom, and she tells her that it didn't go well, and Vicky was like, oh well, I was hoping that it went in a good direction, and I don't believe that. I honestly feel like Vicky was happy to know that it didn't go in the right direction. I feel like she was happy that they ended up getting into it again. I really do. I don't feel like that conversation from Vicky's end was genuine. I feel like she was elated that her and her mom didn't come to a resolve until we get to the end of this conversation. So then I didn't like how Kim tried to tell Vicky, oh, my mom says out of nowhere, they're trying to steal my daughter from me. And I'm like, but she is. Vicky said that actually out of her mouth that I'm going to adopt her anyway, and I'm taking her, and there's nothing, and I'm taking the grandkids too, and ain't nothing you can do about it. So she is trying to steal you and your children. So why would you even say that? So then, what happened? So, they carry on with the conversation, and by the end of it, Kim ends up telling her that I'm torn between I'm doing the adoption anyway, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to hurt my mother like this. And Vicky is in her confessional talking about, I honestly, a part of me just wants Vicky to tell her mom, I gave you this chance, and this is the decision that I've made. And it's just like, lady, you already got kids. You can't take somebody else's because the children that you have decided not to have children, or they can't have children. You can't force yourself on somebody else's child. She was really legit upset, and it's weird, and she's very possessive, and I want Vicky to get the fuck out of here. And she's sitting up there in the backyard crying, talking about this is ridiculous. And I'm like, what's ridiculous is you over there red in the face crying because she might change her mind about the adoption, when them kids, you are the only grandmother that they've ever known with your selfish ass. Kim and Vicky can get out my face as far as I'm concerned. Let's get to Derek, Bianca, and Carol. This is the black couple that I didn't know their names for the episode 1 because they weren't in episode 2. Where am I at? Okay. So, Bianca, Derek, and Carol are in the car on their way to go see the lawyer to discuss the adoption. And Derek says that before Bianca came into their lives, he's saying this in the car. He's driving. Carol's in the passenger seat and Bianca's in the back. And he like, Bianca, before you came into our lives, I was not a happy camper. I complained all the time. And then Carol was like, yeah, you saved our marriage. And I'm just like, why is that? Why is that, Derek? It's funny how your marriage is saved and he's doing less complaining, and he is a happier camper since this young little whippersnapper that came up in y'all house. Girl, good night. So they go in there and they go to the lawyer's office and they discuss the adoption. And Bianca's in her confessional talking about she wants home and stability. And I'm like, get a job. Why you can't get a job? Like, I understand she had a troubled background, but it's a lot of people that had troubled backgrounds and they had to get it out the mud, whether it be at a restaurant, whether it be stripping. There's a plethora of other things that you could be doing to try to create some stability for yourself. You don't have any children. They haven't said you had any children, so I'm trying to understand if you went to school. I don't believe they say anything about her dropping off. I believe she took pictures in a cap and gown. So why is it that you had to come and live in these people's house and they had to help you be financially stable? You don't have a job at all. Like, what are you doing to be self-sufficient? I feel like she's sleeping with that man. I'm sorry. Because the stuff that he say, he's possessive as well, and he's real defensive when it comes to her. So Bianca says that her father wasn't a deadbeat, but he didn't give her the tools in life to become successful. And after her grandmother died, she aged out of foster care, and her father wasn't there emotionally for her. So they end up signing the paperwork, and she'll be getting a new birth certificate, and she will be the heir to Derek and Carol's estate. I said, girl, it done came up. So they flip to Carol, and I guess it's Carol's birthday, and they at a restaurant, and Carol opens up a card from Derek, and she reads it, and I guess it's some mushy stuff. I don't remember what the card said. And they kiss. And then Bianca says, oh God, I'm going to have to get a room tonight. And I'm just like, who makes sex jokes with people that they consider their parents? Like, I'm not making sex jokes with my mama. I feel like I can make any other kind of jokes with my mama. But sex jokes, that's a weird line that I don't want to cross. Like, that's very weird. And these ain't your parents. So for you to be saying something like that, I just feel like it's very awkward. So Carol opens gifts, and she opens a card from Bianca, and one that makes her all misty-eyed. And then they start talking about Carol's stepdaughter, Brittany, but they call her Bubby. And Carol wants, them to get back together, and Carol is hoping that Bubby will call, I guess, and wish her happy birthday. She said she would. And Derek said, honestly, I've already had a conversation with Bubby, and I was so hurt at how strongly she was against the adoption, and he said it kept him up all night because this was something that was hurting his wife. And I'm just like, I don't feel like that's what it is. I don't. Because then after that he says, no, what happened? I'm misreading my notes. So after he said it kept him up all night, and Carol said that she thinks Brittany is kind of jealous because she felt like Bianca took her mom. And I'm like, no, Bubby sees the bullshit that you didn't see in your previous marriage, and then it's repeating itself right in front of your very eyes, and she don't want to be a part of it. So Bianca chimes in and says, well, I don't want to cause a rift in your family. Like, I'm here to be an addition. And Derek says, well, you are an addition, because without me, there's no you. I mean, without you, there's no me. Without you, there's no me? How long have y'all known this girl? Like 3 years? What do you mean? So that's not something you say to an adult that you adopted. That's something you say to your spouse or a partner. Talking about there's no me without you. How? You just met her not too long ago. He's sleeping with that girl. They're going to be sleeping together, allegedly. I feel like they are. they haven't told Bianca about the situation within their previous marriage, and Bianca wants to know what's tea. So that was the end of theirs. Let's go to Frederick, the German prince. So he became a prince because he was adopted by a princess. His name is Frederick. I don't know if I said that or not. He's married to Zsa Zsa Gabor, and he was very proud because he said Zsa Zsa Gabor name at least 10 times. I'm assuming that he was one of her last husbands of many husbands that she had. He says the Gabors were the Kardashians of her time, and that he needs to leave his trust to someone that's a family member. And he's 78 years old, so he has to find that family member fast. So they introduced us to his friend Isaac, the older black man. And Isaac is hilarious because Isaac was shading this man throughout all of his confessionals. He said he liked to get up under Fred's skin because Fred is strong-headed and he think he know it all, and he like to knock him down a peg. And I'm like, I'm here for it, Isaac. Get up under his skin, because I hate a person that just think they know everything. And it's like, but you wrong. Yeah, I know, but you wrong. So Isaac like, what's the criteria that you're looking for somebody to adopt? And Isaac said, hell, you can adopt me. And I'm like, I know that's right, Isaac. Ain't nothing wrong with that, because I'd asked him, so why don't you adopt me then? And he told Isaac he was too old. And he said he wants somebody maybe out of the music business and a rapper. And Isaac was like, why would a rapper want to be adopted by you when they probably got more money than you? And Fred looked flabbergasted. Like, he was like, he didn't say anything, but the look on his face was hilarious. Isaac also says that Fred thinks that he's Hollywood elite, and he's nothing of the sort. I said, really? You gonna read your friend like this? But then turn around and say, but I'm worried about somebody trying to scam him out his money. It's like, well, then stop shading him up in these confessionals, Mr. Isaac. I'm living, but don't do that. You can't be shady and then turn around and be like, but I hope everything, turns out for the best. So they end up meeting later on at the restaurant. Before that, they said that Fred has tried to adopt 5 people already, and he doesn't talk to any of them anymore because they were rude to him after the adoption and only wanted the title. And it's just like, after seeing him throughout the rest of this episode, he just seemed like a mean old man. And he's an asshole. And ain't nobody finna deal with that. So when I get this adoption, you can fuck on. So they meet up at the restaurant, and Isaac, I don't know, they never said what website he was supposed to be helping him find somebody on. But they was looking at profile pictures. And I just find it funny how Fred got all these qualifications that he wants somebody to have, but he has no idea how to even execute finding somebody. He don't even know where to start. So he says he wants somebody with a good job and smart. And Isaac like, well, you're not gonna find smart with profile pictures. And Fred was like, so then they brought him tea, and Fred couldn't open his tea, so he asked Isaac, and he's like, Isaac, you do it. And the way he did it, he ended up opening it, and then he thought Isaac was gonna put it in the cup. He was like, I opened it, you put it in there. So he was like, I don't want it on my hand. And he was like, this is why I need somebody, because I need them to help me put honey in my tea. And I was just like, are you looking for an heir, or are you looking for a home health aide? Because, like, it sounds like you want somebody to boss around and tell your old Prince stories to, and stories about how you was married to Zsa Zsa Gabor. That's what it's giving. So Fred said he don't trust the internet. And Isaac said that his personality is going to make this situation hard for him. And his introduction to people is going to be downright comical. I said, oh no, Fred, why you keep doing this to this man? That ain't really your friend. He said you want to be on TV with me. And Fred was like, hell yeah, crazy motherfucker. Absolutely. I'll be on TV. So Fred said, he don't trust people on the internet, and he want to meet people, maybe meet people on the street and have coffee with them. And Isaac said, so you think a stranger is going to want to come and get coffee with you? And Fred said, yeah, we're going to find the guys that hang out in front of the Gucci store. And I'm just like, Fred, who you know that hang out in front of the Gucci store? Anybody you see parlaying in front of the Gucci store, you might want to get from around the Gucci store, Fred. Nobody's kicking it in front of the Gucci store. Like... Fred is so out of touch, and I don't know how he think this process is about to go. So let's get to my favorite ignorant ass shit. Danny, Christy, and Ileana. So Danny is on social media. I'm assuming he's going live, and he's telling the world that Ileana is his new adoptee, and she's also having a baby. So not only is he going to be a father, he's going to be a grandfather all in 1 week. Meanwhile, Christy is again crying in the car. And Christy said that her friends keep asking Danny, well, how's Christy taking all of this? And he's like, well, she's taking it great, all things considered. And by all things considered is his chronic cheating. And I'm just like, why y'all lie? Because I could have sworn that somebody was trying to make it seem like he had only cheated once. I don't know if it was Christy or if it was Danny. But one of y'all lied. Because I remember specifically somebody saying I only cheated one time. And I believe it was Danny. So, first of all, can we talk about how this mog is on the internet, elated, smiling from ear to ear, talking about Ileana and his baby, and his wife is in the car crying again. Christy in the car, she said her generosity is being stretched to the limit, and she said her husband has bit off more than he can chew, and now I'm chewing on his behalf, and I'm not hungry. I said, okay, well, how many times you gonna cry in the car before you leave? And how long you gonna chew before your jaws get tired? Like, you gotta be a little hungry because you keep picking up his slack. You don't have to deal with this, and I don't understand why you're dealing with it. So, in the next scene, Christy meets up with her friend. And her friends are trying to wrap their mind around the situation. Like, they don't understand why this man is bringing somebody in the house. And Christy was explaining to her friend that she already told Danny, like, we shouldn't have anybody in the house, and our marriage is not even at its strongest right now. Christy ends up revealing to us that she had left Danny for about 6 months. And her friend was like, it's unfair and he doesn't care about you because he's bringing somebody into an already rocky marriage. So Christy said her tolerance is getting low and she's thinking about leaving him again. But she also has, she's torn because she don't want to leave Ileana. Ileana has nobody. And I'm like, Christy, that don't have nothing to do with you. If that's not something that you had signed up for in your marriage, and you told your husband that you didn't think it was a good idea for y'all to bring somebody in said marriage, and he did it anyway, then that's not your problem. You can leave. Because you didn't sign up for this. I don't have to deal with this. I told you I didn't want a bitch in the house, and you gonna bring a bitch in the house anyway? Oh, boy. Christy too timid. Because you could have nipped that in the bud real quick. I'm sorry. Like, because ain't nobody checking for Danny for real. These women is looking for his money. This man is a truck driver. He making good money. Don't nobody want him for real. So he don't really want you to leave him. Because when Ileana is done using him up, then she ain't gonna be checking for him. Like, where am I at? So, she's saying that she still hope that, she's still holding out hope that he gonna keep these promises that he made to her. And I'm just like, Christy, you ain't gonna go nowhere. You just gonna continue to sit there and take it. And let him fuck on her in a trailer and have you crying in the car, and he putting on a show for Facebook and telling them that everything's great. We're grandparents. I'm a dad. You know, everything. I'm so happy. Christy is getting along well. This is great. We're great company. We make each other laugh. And it's like, that's not the situation. Is Christy laughing? You the only one smiling in here. You and Ileana, who's getting free room and board. So, in the next scene, Danny and Christy are sitting down talking, and apparently Christy had went to the doctor with Ileana again, and they said the baby is probably going to come early. And Christy is like, I'm really stressed out. And he's like, I don't understand why you're stressed out. Ileana should be stressed out. And she was like, I'm stressed out because I have to do all of this shit. While you're not here, I'm taking care of somebody that I didn't even agree to come in this house. And I'm just like, you stupid, because you don't have to do that. I wouldn't take her nowhere. That's not your problem. He would have had to figure all of that out. It wouldn't even been that, because she wouldn't be in my house. But if you was going to allow her to be in your house, he would have had to figure all that out. Oh, you want her to go to the doctor every week? Okay, well, you need to order her an Uber. Because I'm not taking her. I'm not going to interrupt my life because this is what you wanted. So then, he says, I'm prepared to take off for at least 4 days if she's giving birth Wednesday. And she like, taking off 4 days? If you don't work, we don't have any money. He's like, well, we're gonna let the chips fall where they may. I'm willing to make a sacrifice for her. And I'm just like, what sacrifices have you made for your wife, Danny? Why is she the one that's continuously making sacrifices for something that she's not even happy about? Danny is an asshole. Then apparently they're using her retirement, and she's like, I feel like my retirement is going to be gone after this. And he's like, well, we'll get that money back. And she like, do you hear yourself? Like, what you mean we gonna get that money back? You done spent at least $6,000 between before she got here and now. So he was sending her money before she got there. He was like, this is a scam. And Christy finna continue to let Danny play in her face, because then he tells her, you want a type A personality to change his mind. Honey, you're not easy to live with. And it's just like, and you easy to live with? Because you're quite annoying. Quite as a cap, Ileana might not be sleeping with that man because he's irritating and he's not attractive. He's short and round and he's annoying. AF. And then he tells Christy, I give you more. I give and all you want is more. All I do is give and all you want is more. And I'm like, you got some goddamn nerve. And I am so surprised that objects are not flying across the room at his head. I threw a cat at his head. Because ain't no way you sitting up here talking to me like that. There's no way. Because when I left you, you begged me to come back on promises. And now you gonna sit up in my face talking about you not finna change your ways, you not finna change your mind because you a type A person. I don't give a damn about your type A personality. Like, this is a mess. And it makes me mad because Christy needs to grow a pair and leave. Or fight him. Or both. I'm comfortable with both. Because I'd put my hands on him. Because he is just beyond disrespectful. And I wouldn't deal with it. And she shouldn't deal with it. But she's insecure. And she probably feel like she deserves it. But that's on Christy. She said she's looking for options to leave. But I believe it when I see it. Anyway. This has been Adults Adopting Adults. Season 1, Episode 3. This is like the third or fourth time I recorded this video because I wasn't feeling it at first. I want to say thank you to all of my new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the content. I'm trying to get better, and I promise to get better as we keep going forward. Thank you guys so much for coming along this journey with me, and I will see you guys next week for Episode 4. Alright, y'all. Peace.